It looks like Samsung finally has competition in the foldable segment. The Oppo Find N is here on Tech Today. We also tell you everything about Nothing. Yes, the company Nothing. And of course, a very special conversation with one of the country's top tech YouTubers, Tech Burner, on Tech Today. Well, we've got mail on Tech Today and we have to share innovation with you first on this show, and that's why we're starting off with the Oppo Find N. Let's unbox it and give you our initial impressions. Very interesting packaging. As soon as you open it, you move on and there's a bunch of these warranty cards and information, quick start guides, a lot of them in Chinese, which I don't understand. Of course, there's a SIM ejection tool, and then you have this 33-watt charger as well. And then there's a USB charging cable. So Type A to Type C. This is going to help with the fast charging. But let's clear this and now address the elephant in the room. Now, as soon as you power this up and you actually hold it in your hand, you realize that this seems a lot more pocketable and easy to handle in one hand than the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3, which you saw on one of our previous episodes of Tech Today. Now, I'll give you that for perspective and make this a little easier for you. This is the Z Fold 3. This is the Oppo Find N. Keep them together and you know that this is a very different form factor. They're both foldables, they're both premium foldables. This is available only in China. This has been available in India for the past few months. But they look different and they serve a slightly different user experience. So if you look at this one, it's a lot longer, and when it's folded, it's kind of strange in terms of the aspect ratio. Compare it to this one and it feels like you're holding an iPhone mini. I cannot for the life of me see that crease or understand where it is. And even on watching content, and there's a whole long process to get YouTube and the Play Store on this device, but that I will tell you in a subsequent video or on the Business Today website. But when you actually are watching YouTube, this looks like an aspect ratio which works. But yes, at present, this phone is only available in China, but this might be what Oppo wants to do in the future when they want to make these foldables for the rest of the world. So it's very important for us to show you this. Now, the crease that I was talking about, the reason it's not always visible or not at all visible, that's because when you're actually closing the phone, and if you see this in slow motion, you'll understand that it actually closes just like you would be folding a piece of paper. So it has this teardrop sort of shape, which means that the screen actually has a little bit of gap out there, which means that it's not always bent. That means it'll last for more folding and unfolding actions, and that you have to give them credit when it comes to that frugal innovation. And maybe we'll see a lot more in the foldable space after we've seen stuff like this. One quirk that I saw with my initial impressions is that while they have tried to do this, I think, to save battery and of course to cut down on price, the inside has this vibrant 120Hz LTPO display, and that high refresh rate really means that things become interesting. Gaming becomes fun as well. This is running on some top specs as well in terms of a Snapdragon 888 chipset. It goes up all the way to 12 gigs of RAM DDR5, but then when you close it, they've given you this lovely sort of swipe up feature, and you can continue using a lot of those features on the front screen. But that's when it seems a little inconsistent, because then this is a 60Hz screen. It's very difficult for the naked eye to actually figure the difference. But when you start using the same app inside and outside, it's not a very consistent experience. So maybe they should move to a 120Hz display on the front as well and make it a lot more consistent. But it's good to know that Oppo hasn't cut corners, even if it's only for China with this device, in terms of packing a punch under the hood. This comes with a top-of-the-line Snapdragon 888 chipset. That's not all. It actually packs all the way up to 12 gigs of RAM, DDR5. It comes in 3 colors, purple, white and black. And of course, there's another option as well, which I think is going to be available, which is 8 gigs of RAM and 256 GBs of storage. This one that I'm using has 512 gigs of storage. It's quite mighty on that front. Now, of course, the pixel density is around 370 ppi. That refresh rate is variable from 1 Hz all the way up to 120 Hz. This is something that will help it conserve battery as well. A quick word on the price. Of course, this is a China-only product, but if we have to convert from Chinese currency to Indian rupees, The base model of the Oppo Find N costs around 92,000 rupees. It goes all the way up to this variant, which is the 512 gig model, for 1,10,000 rupees nearly. That's nearly 40 to 50,000 rupees cheaper than the Galaxy Z Fold 3. And that is where this device packs a punch. But I'm glad these foldables are finally here because we're talking about innovation in this space. Until now, it was all about the camera. So let's talk about the camera because it's so important to so many of us. This doesn't have 1, 2 or 3 or 4. This has 5 cameras, a lot like the Fold. But the Fold by Samsung obviously has not a punch hole, but it has a pixel hidden camera which doesn't do much of a job. This has a punch hole, traditional punch hole in the inner display, and then it has 3 in the rear camera setup and then 1 on the outer display. The front camera is a 32 megapixel on the inner display and a 32 megapixel on the outer display. When it comes to the rear camera setup, this triple camera setup, Oppo hasn't spared any punches there as well. It's quite an interesting module because it comes with its top-end specs. If you're in the mood to actually use it as a selfie camera, I know a lot of vloggers want to use it, then there's a nifty hack as well. You actually click on this button which says preview on the cover screen. I'm actually using the primary sensor on the Oppo Find N and I can see myself in this particular viewfinder. That's kind of interesting because a lot of DSLR cameras also didn't have a viewfinder, but you can use this screen. So it's a nifty hack and a small trick to play, but quite interesting in terms of how this sort of innovation has played out. Okay, now time for the final verdict of our initial impressions of the Oppo Find N. They've gotten this right in terms of the form factor, even better I think than the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3. This has been my daily driver for the past few months. I've been very happy with it. It's almost replaced my iPad mini. That's how good this has been. But again, I had issues with the software on this. This is not the best implementation of Android Q and bring in the Oppo Find N. A device which I think has gotten the form factor right. Perfect to pocket, perfect to handle with one hand. But then again, I don't know how ColorOS would work for this, but to be fair, this is a China-only product. So if this ever comes to India, I don't know how they would tweak, well, ColorOS. I'm not the biggest fan. Look, this is a very nascent part of the business when you talk about foldables. Maybe they didn't get the form factor entirely right. Maybe they had a crease. It's already been improved by a cheaper rival, which is China only. We can only hope that in the coming days, Google announces the Pixel Fold or Apple announces a foldable, and when they get it right with the right sort of software optimization, we will have an ultimate winner. Until then, hats off to these brands for really venturing into this space and giving us a leap in innovation, if not a quantum one. Now, foldables are just part of the ecosystem, and one tiny part of it, maybe they'll replace your phone, maybe they'll replace your tablet as a two-in-one device. Another part of the technology ecosystem that's really hotting up are truly wireless earbuds. Apple had the AirPods and Samsung had these buds as well in association with AKG. Both belt out some fantastic sound. You also have the Sennheisers and the Boses and Sonys at the top end of the spectrum, more than 15,000-20,000 rupees. And then you have the cheaper Chinese brands under 3,000 or 4,000 rupees. Now, you could go for any of these, or if you're a true tech enthusiast, then the community of tech enthusiasts was really interested by this new offering by a company called Nothing. Firstly, it was the founder of OnePlus, Carl Pei, who came up with it. And secondly, there was a huge marketing machinery around the launch of their product. No one knew what the product was. What was Nothing all about? And then came the earbuds. Are they a hit or a miss? Because now they've come with the second version in black of the same product. Is it a true bang for your buck? Well, let's find out.
Not all buds are made equal. And how can they be? In an overwhelmingly large market with so many options and prices ranging from 1,000 rupees to 30,000 rupees and up, there is so much to choose from that we don't blame you for getting confused. Heck, even we get confused. So what can these companies that make these buds do to stand out? For starters, they need to look different. Very different. When Carl Pei founded Nothing, yeah, that's the name of his company, and we got a glimpse of the year one, there was so much to be excited about. There were also some very big names backing Nothing, including the likes of Tony Fadell, the guy who's invented the Apple iPod. A lot riding over there, am I right? Earbuds essentially need to deliver on one main front, which is the user experience. And with user experience, we mean three main things: good fit, good sound, and ease of use. And ease of use also means good software. So it doesn't really matter how great the buds look. If they don't deliver what they're supposed to deliver, which is a good fit and good sound and ease of use, does it make any sense even paying for them? Now, Nothing launched the first Ear One earlier this year in white, and slightly later in the year, they've launched it in a different color, a black. If you thought that the white Ear One looked good, boy do we have news for you. The black Ear Ones look good and so much better. Full points here to nothing for design. And I've said that before when I reviewed the white Ear Ones, and I say it again with more emphasis. Now, between the white Ear One and the black Ear One, hardware and software wise, there are no changes. The black one costs 1,000 rupees more though. So are you okay with paying 1,000 rupees more for a color change, or is there something more to this new launch? Now, the black Ear One has features like active noise cancellation or ANC, fast pairing, in-ear detection. There's also a feature called Find My Buds, and there are some EQ presets that you can use from the Nothing app, just like it was with the white Air One. The Nothing app also recognizes the two different colors of the two earbuds, which is a very nice tweak. So, if you're not a huge fan of the black ones and you already have the white ones, let me just get it out of the way for you. You don't need the new black ones. Now the main takeaway, how well do these work? In my experience, I found very little difference in the performance of the white Ear One and the black Ear One. The software issues persist. For example, in my usage, the ANC kept going off a few times during a call, and music would suddenly stop playing sometimes, and I had to manually pull out my phone to start the playback again. Now, the white Ear One had exactly the same issues that I just mentioned about the black Ear One. The black Ear One seems to have a little less of it, but it's not gone. And it appears to have fixed some of these issues, but it remains to be seen how well it works. In my opinion, there's still a bit of work left for Nothing to do in this area. It is the most important aspect after all, and they should have done that instead of just introducing a new color.
You can read the detailed review of these buds on businesstoday.in, but just to round it up for you,
these buds look great, they sound good too, and if Nothing would have fixed their little software issues, we would have given them all the points. But since they persist, maybe waiting for year 2 or whatever they want to call their next buds is a better idea.
Much ado about nothing. Okay, ignore the bad pun. Jhinuk got you an authentic, unbiased review of the new Nothing earbuds. But we also have a very interesting conversation on the other side of the break. Authentic, unbiased, uncensored with Tech Burner. Don't miss it. Welcome back to the show, guys. Now, whenever I watch a YouTube video nowadays, the first word I hear is Tagda. What is this whole deal with Tagda? Even I want to do a Tagda collab at the end of the day.
आयुष तगड़ा मतलब हम रेडी हो गए आपके लिए आज तबाही मचा दी जाएगी इस शो के ऊपर
Tech Burner, welcome to Tech Today. Shlok, should we do it in your way?
Yeah, we can do it any way possible.
This is the Tech Today logo. I hope I don't break it. Tech Burner on Tech Today. Let's begin.
What's up, Shlok? Absolute pleasure to have you with us on Tech Today. I know you usually make these videos, but now you're in the hot seat and I'll be asking the questions.
थोड़ा सा नया सा लग रहा है, थोड़ा सा different सा लग रहा है, but like I am very excited because you come from a very tech background. आपका background भी अच्छा लग रहा है वैसे, but हाँ, आज definitely मजा आएगा.
थोड़ा मैं try किया आपकी तरह थोड़े neon डाल दूं, but this is something that we do on Tech Today. We're operating out of a home studio to come closer to your world.
Now, you're always a big YouTuber, but things changed in a big way for you in the lockdown. From that small home studio to fancy studio that you operate in now, how did the lockdown change the Tech Burner channel?
Actually, ये जो audience की तरफ से we get so much of love, so much of things come our way. We want to give that back in as many ways as possible. उसी के लिए हमको content expand करना, सारी चीजें करनी थी, and like the things that I can do myself, a team of 20 people can do way better. और सबके साथ काम करने में there's a lot more excitement, and combining great talented people together, it just a very beautiful ecosystem, and I just love to be a part of it.
Shlok, how's that journey been for you as a creator? Now, when you look back, starting off from your college room to this fancy studio that you're in today, slowly heading towards 10 million subscribers. Now, that's more than just a number to you, right? Isn't it a lot more about the engagement, about the community you're building? Because you have this one-to-one relationship with a lot of members of your audience.
थोड़ा सा bragging type लगेगा, but hundreds of millions of people watch us every month, and we started initially college के एक छोटे से room में I started making videos. में इतनी भी जगह नहीं थी कि like record करता है. I had to go to a parking lot and make all these videos. But step by step things happen, and I just took one thing, that is giving as much value as I can to the audience. And I think when you give without expectation, it comes back 100 times, 1,000 times. So it just grew by like 10 views, फिर 100 views, फिर 1,000 views, and over a period of like 8 years, it has grown to hundreds of millions, and we got a lot of people together as well. And one thing has been very constant. Whenever we try to create a video, हम as much of value जितना हम देता हैं उतना देने की कोशिश करते हैं. और हमने figure out करा कि starting हमने English में करेगी, and we are doing this show also in English. But what we saw कि like जो इंडिया में 90% ऑडियंस है, they like to watch videos in their regional languages. तो उसके बाद हमने हिंदी में शुरू करा.
iPhone का एक सीक्रेट फीचर होता है कि अगर आपका फोन पानी में गिर जाए तो आपके पास एक ऑप्शन है वाटर को एजेक्ट करने का. सिरी का एक शॉर्टकट है जिसको अगर आप प्ले करते हो, आपकी स्पीकर से वाटर एजेक्ट होने.
एक और चीज हमने फिगर आउट करी कि लाइक यार ना टेक थोड़ा सा ना बोरिंग होता है. जब हम गीक के बारे में सोचते हैं, टेकी के बारे में सोचते हैं ना, हमारे दिमाग में कंप्यूटर वाला एक बंदा आता है, जैसे एक रूम में बैठ के ग्रीन से रूम में ऐसे कोडिंग कर रहा है, कुछ कर रहा है. बट एसेंशियली वी आर ऑल साइबॉर्ग्स, मतलब ऐसे रोबोट से ही बन गए हम. हमारे हाथ में फोन है, आधी जिंदगी मोबाइल से चल रही है. मोबाइल हटा दें तो हम कुछ बचा नहीं हमारे अंदर, तो हम टेकी सब है. तो वही टेकी वाला कंटेंट मैं सब लोगों के लिए बनाने की कोशिश कर रहा था, और उसको सब तक पहुंचाने के लिए उसको ऐसे थोड़ा मजेदार, थोड़ा मसालेदार, थोड़ा जोक्स, थोड़ा स्टोरी, ये सारी चीजें ऐड करनी पड़ती. तो इट वाज वेरी फन दैट एक्सपीरियंस. बट हाँ, वही करने की कोशिश करते हैं कि सब तक कि लाइक मेरी मम्मी भी, मेरी बहन भी, कोई भी एक फीमेल भी, कोई बुजुर्ग अंकल आंटी भी हैं, सब टेक को कंज्यूम कर पाए. तो दैट्स our motto.
Here's another question that I have to ask you. When you're creating this sort of tech content, I've seen a lot of American YouTubers and YouTubers in Europe who actually put out disclaimers when they come up with marketing partnerships. Say they're doing something with a brand, it's very clear that this is not purely editorial content. ये दिल से नहीं बना रहे. This is because it's a script from a brand. When you look at your content, what kind of hygiene and SOPs do you have? How do you tell your audience that this is not an advertisement, this is a genuine video?
अब तो we put it in the description and we say it in the video कि like when we are making it in a collaboration with a brand, जिससे कि हम brand के साथ मिलके बना रहे हैं, या फिर this is like a collaboration with a brand. And a lot of times, और अब तो like this guidelines ASCI ने जो दे रखी है, and we have to follow that, and we have to tell the audience कि हम ये ब्रांड के साथ मिलके बना रहे हैं, otherwise it's not allowed, और हमको मतलब स्ट्राइक्स आ जाएंगे सारी चीजें. तो like there's only a few pieces of content जो हम like actually ब्रांड के साथ मिलके बनाते हैं, and we want to make sure कि like जो हम sponsored content भी कर रहे हैं, जो ब्रांड के साथ मिलके बना रहे हैं, we provide as much value as we can. तो like कभी कभार जैसे we go inside a factory and show कि like कैसे फोन बन रहा है, कैसे सारे पार्ट्स यूज हो रहे हैं, कैसे सारी चीजें जो हम like अगर हम पार्टनरशिप में नहीं कर रहे होते तो हम शायद वो कभी ना दिखा पाते. बट बिकॉज वी आर वर्किंग विद अ ब्रांड, सो वी कैन शोकेस दैट, और वो सारी चीजें दिखा सकते हैं. और ऐसी बहुत सारी पार्टनरशिप्स होती हैं जहाँ पे हम ऐसी चीजें कर पाते हैं जो एसेंशियली मैं शायद अकेले कभी ना कर पाता. और आई लुक एट इट फ्रॉम अ लाइक अ न्यूट्रल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू कि लाइक एसेंशियली जो ब्रांड्स हैं दे आर ट्राइंग टू क्रिएट द बेस्ट प्रोडक्ट, और वो ऑडियंस की हेल्प करने के लिए कोशिश कर रहे हैं. और वी एज अ ब्रांड हमारा भी यही मोटो है कि हम ऑडियंस के लिए बेस्ट वीडियोस बनाने की कोशिश करें. तो एसेंशियली वी हैव द सेम टारगेट ऑडियंस, और वी ऑल थ्री, द ऑडियंस इज वर्किंग फॉर अस एंड फॉर द ब्रांड इज वर्किंग फॉर द ऑडियंस, एंड इट्स जस्ट अ ट्रायंगुलर साइकिल, एंड वी ट्राई टू हेल्प each one of the partners that are involved in this. So I think it's very fulfilling ecosystem that we have in India, and जो tech companies भी हैं that try to create the best product at the best price. India में भी जो products आ रहे हैं, because ऑडियंस इतना रेस्पेक्ट करती है, इतना अप्रिशिएटिव है नए ब्रांड्स के लिए, तो सारे ब्रांड्स इंडिया में पहले लॉन्च करते हैं फिर बाहर जाता है. तो आई थिंक इट्स वेरी great and fulfilling industry.
Interesting, Shlok, you mentioned that. And also, when you look back at your journey, you said you started off at engineering college from a small room, and now you're in this fancy studio. Life has changed. No bragging rights over here, but essentially speaking, it's been a fascinating journey, and you have a community of fans, audience, that really, like you said, believes in you, trusts you, but also you have a very unique form of storytelling. I think you put a lot of comedy, a lot of effort into the script. How does Tech Burner sit down and plan out his video? Is it a lot more spontaneous? Like, बहुत planning होती है?
It's like a mixture of two. Like India as a country, like there is an element of chaos. और वही chaos is the fun. The fun is मतलब वही excitement है. जो इंडिया में गाड़ी में चलाते इधर उधर से कट मारते हैं तो लाइक अलग ही मजा आता है. वैसे सेम वीडियो में भी लाइक टेक वीडियो अगर सिंपल सा रिव्यू है ना तो मजा नहीं आता. उसके अंदर थोड़ा मसाला हो, थोड़ा एलिमेंट्स ऑफ फन हो, थोड़ा सा एक स्टोरी हो, तब जाके थोड़ा सा ना एक एलिमेंट ऑफ एक्साइटमेंट क्रिएट होती है. तो इट्स नॉट मी हु इज क्रिएटिंग एवरीथिंग, इट्स अ टीम. इट्स अ वेरी टीम एफर्ट. और जैसे हम स्क्रिप्ट्स भी जो लिखते हैं तो हम मल्टीपल लोग टेस्ट करते हैं एक सिंगल प्रोडक्ट को. मल्टीपल लोग फाइंड आउट करते हैं अलग अलग तरीके कैसे इसको दिखा सकते हैं. जैसे फोन है तो फोन के कैमरा को लेके चलो लेक में चले जाते हैं, या फिर हम कुछ अलग सा कर देते हैं, या फिर ये बाहर की पेड़ों की फोटो खींचते हैं. तो दिस आइडियाज दैट कम फ्रॉम एवरीवेयर एंड वी कंपाइल ऑल दोज आइडियाज. मेरे भी कुछ कुछ आइडियाज रहते हैं एंड आई एम द वन प्रेजेंटिंग ऑल दोज आइडियाज. और मैं ट्राई कर रहा हूँ. इट्स नॉट वेरी मतलब स्क्रिप्टेड नहीं होता. देयर आर अ फ्यू पॉइंटर्स बट इट्स वेरी स्पॉन्टेनियस. मतलब जो जोक्स हैं, जितने भी इम्प्रोवाइजेशन है, दैट इज ऑल लाइक वो फ्लो में हम जो वीडियोस बनाते हैं वो इट्स वेरी ऑर्गेनिक. तो देयर इज नॉट अ लॉट ऑफ स्क्रिप्टिंग. थोड़ा बहुत पॉइंटर्स होते हैं बट लाइक हाँ, इट्स वेरी जो सामने प्रोडक्ट को देख के निकल रहा है वो निकल जाता है.
What is one message that you want to put out to all the guys who listened to you at the start of every Instagram reel and YouTube video where you said subscribe button zarur dabana? Who ended up doing that guy who actually ended up doing that, what is your message to them?
धंधा है, बेचना पड़ता है. That's what we do. We make videos और हमारा काम चलता है. अगर लोग सब्सक्राइब करते हैं, ज़्यादा देखते हैं, वापस आते हैं, तो like it helps us. And at the end of the day, we are trying to help the audience. Audience हमारी थोड़ी सी हेल्प कर दो तो हमारा भी काम बन जाता है. तो ठीक है, I don't, मेरे को कोई शर्म नहीं आती सब्सक्राइब करवाने से या लोगों से बोलने के लिए, क्योंकि फ्री में ऐसे कुछ ज्यादा उनके पैसे नहीं लग रहे.
बिल्कुल. On that note, we should also ask you to subscribe to the Business Today handles and the Tech Today page, है ना?
100%.
Well done, yes.
अभी बटन दबाते हैं जाके. वैसे मैंने कर रखा है.
आप भी दबा दो.
Well, Shlok, it's been so much fun chatting with you on Tech Today, and like you said, please like, comment, share, and hit the subscribe button on the Business Today page. If you've enjoyed this conversation, of course, give us a like. Stay tuned to Tech Today. Until next week, adios.